Alright then, so now we know how to use asynchronous JavaScript, the fetch API, promises, async and await. Let's put all of that to good use by making a weather application. So it's eventually going to look something like this. We can enter in a location and spell it correctly, then press enter, and we come up with the temperature for that, the weather type, and whether it's day or night or not. This is daytime, and also a little icon for the weather as well. If I type in a new location, like Miami, press enter, we can see over there it's nighttime, 15 degrees and clear. So this is going to work for any different city. Now to do this, we're going to be using a free weather API called AccuWeather to get all of that data from. And we're going to set all of this up later on, but this will basically allow us to query their API endpoints for weather information, which is how we're able to display it over here when we search for a particular location. Now we're going to be using a mixture of asynchronous techniques that we've already learned in the last chapter, as well as some DOM manipulation to show all of that data on the page. So we'll be mixing a lot of the things together that we've learned so far in this course. Now remember, all of the course files for each and every lesson can be found on the GitHub repository right here. You can get that from one of the first lessons where I've attached it to that lecture. So remember, you just have to check out the correct branch over here. So for this lesson, for example, it would be lesson 99 branch, and then you'd see the code in here for that lesson. So if something's not working with your code at any point during this project, make sure you compare your code to mine on this GitHub repo to make sure everything is the same. Anyway, let's get started now by setting up our new project. So then in VS Code, I've got a brand new folder called Weather App, and inside is just this index.html file, which there's nothing inside of at the minute. All I'm going to do is say doc, then tab to create this boilerplate. Then first of all, I'm going to go to the document bit over here and say Ninja Weather. And then I'm going to paste in my link to the Bootstrap CDN. This is for the CSS, much like we've used in other projects. I grabbed it from the Bootstrap website, so I'm just going to paste that in right here. Then underneath that, I'm going to create a link to our own style sheet as well. Now I'm going to call this styles.css. So let me right click the folder and create this first of all, styles.css, and then let's link to it right here. So link tag, and the href is styles.css. Okay, so we'll use that for a couple of our own styles later on if we need them, as well as any Bootstrap classes that we use. Okay, so the next step now is to add our scripts. Now, there's going to be a couple of different scripts in this file because I want to separate our logic when we're creating this project. So I'll explain more about this later on, but what I'm going to do for now is first of all create a new folder and call this scripts. So when we have multiple different scripts, I tend to put them in a folder called JS or scripts or something like that and keep them all together in one place. So I'm going to create two files. I'm going to call the first one app.js, and that is going to be for all of our kind of DOM manipulations, showing things on the page. And then I'm also going to create another script over here called forecast.js, and that is going to contain all of the JavaScript that will be responsible for interacting with the weather API and getting data. So these two scripts are going to have different things that they do, and that's why I'm separating them, so I don't have to contain it all in one gigantic script, and I can separate the concerns into two different files and keep everything a bit more logical. So then, now we've created those, we can link up to them inside the body tag. We'll do that at the bottom. The first one I want to do is the forecast. So let's create that. Script source is equal to the scripts folder, first of all. Then we want forecast.js. Okay, so let's do another one. Script, and then the source of this is going to be equal to scripts, and then /app.js. So we have our style sheets hooked up, and we also have our scripts hooked up. The next step is to create the template inside this file, and we'll do that in the next video.